In this lesson, you will learn lighting, scene setup, and post-processing effects. Let's get started. Let's take a look at how you can use lighting to make your barrel look even better. Head to the Create menu at the top, and under Lights, you'll see a few different kinds of lights available to use. A point light will best suit our purposes, so drag one out and place it in the barrel. You should see that the barrel is now a little more lit up, but we can do even more. Grab the VFX Creator Fortnite device and place it into the world. By default, this creates a neat particle effect, but let's change it to look more like a smoke effect. First, increase the sprite size and duration, then change the main color to something that resembles smoke. Next, lower the sprite speed, set gravity to 0, and reduce the randomness. Also, change the spawn zone size to something really small so that it fits into the barrel. Finally, enable the secondary color and make it a darker version of your first color. This creates a super nice smoke effect to place into your barrel. Click on that point light again and now change the color to something that resembles fire. Increase the intensity as needed and your barrel will be leveled up. Lights have no physical presence in the world, so you can use them to decorate your world as needed. The other kinds of lights also have their uses. Directional lights simulate the sun. Spotlights shine down on a specific spot. Rect lights are shaped like a rectangle. And skylights generally light up the sky in a level. One thing you can do to make this barrel interactable is to create a prop by combining the light and barrel into one. This can be great if you want to use the barrel and light in different areas, but with different VFX. In the content browser, make a new folder called Props, then right-click the background and choose Blueprint class. Since the barrel isn't interactable, choose the Static Mesh option. Call this Prop Barrel and double-click it to open the prop editor. In the parent component, which you called Prop Barrel, you'll see a spot for a static mesh on the right. Choose the barrel you already made and you'll see it appear complete with the material. Then, add a component and choose Point Light. Move the point light as needed and adjust its color and intensity, or copy the settings from the point light in your level already. If you drag out the prop barrel, it's now a complete asset that can be interacted with during a live session. Lighting is a great way to change the way the world looks, but an even better way is with post-processing effects, which you will now learn about. Post-processing volumes can change the way the entire world looks overall. In the Create menu, go to Visual Effects and choose Post-Processing Volume. Inside the New Volumes Details window, you can adjust different color settings, bloom effects, and more. Under the color grading setting, enable the Saturation Global property and turn it down a bit. You'll notice that nothing actually happens. That's because the post-process volume only affects the view of players inside of it. By default, if you move your camera into the box created by default, you should see a desaturated view of the world. This is a really great way to make different areas distinct from one another with different effects. But if you want to change the entire world, you can search for Unbound and enable this setting. Now, when I leave the post-process volume box, the entire world is still desaturated. There are many more properties other than saturation, and you can check out the documentation online to get a good idea of what they do, or mouse over a property for a quick explanation. A really useful property of post-process volumes is that you can create and add materials to them. Make a new folder called Materials and create a new material called Matter Post-Process. Under the Post-Process Materials section of the Post-Process volume, add an array element and choose the newly created material. Nothing will happen since this material doesn't have anything changed on it yet. Open the material editor and, in the Details window, change the material domain to Post-Process, which will enable some special features. If you save and go back to the level, the entire world is now dark since the material is just emitting the color black. Head back to the Material Editor and add a Scene Texture node. In the Details tab, you can change the scene texture to the Post-Process Input 0, and then connect this node to the Emissive Color property. Now this world looks normal, but if you head back to the editor and, instead of connecting the color property to the material output, drag it off and create a new desaturation node, then connect that to the emissive color. The preview will now be desaturated using the material instead of the post-process volume. This is incredibly useful since there are many things to do within the material editor, like outlining certain objects and more, which you can find in the documentation. In the next lesson, you'll take a look at Sequencer, the tool that lets you create cinematics and other effects in UEFN. Goodbye and see you in the next lesson.
You're now tuned into the master. Original, never manufactured. I break the mold, shatter the plaster. You can learn something, watch this, get your camera. They can't do it